Chip Kelly, the coaching carousel is starting to wind down as a lot of these positions are filled now. Hugh, as you know, goes to Cleveland. That's a great hire. I think the Dolphins missed the boat there, as a matter of fact. We talked about that earlier in the week. I know, Handsome, you agree with that one. Let's talk Chip Kelly, and of course, McAdoo winds up where he should, because had they gone in any other direction, you basically have to reboot Eli going into year 13, and you remember how that went a couple of years ago. It took a while for Eli to get rolling.
I still think it may not work out, but
maybe not. But I think that was sort of, they forced themselves into this position by letting Coughlin go. And in fact, had they retained Coughlin, they probably lose McAdoo, who probably would be a hot candidate elsewhere. Let's talk Chip Kelly, though. Harmon, I start with you. Good fit here?
Yeah, I think it is a good fit, because what we all kind of regard as the downfall of Chip Kelly was his personnel decisions, and he won't have to do that in San Francisco. Trent Baalke, allegedly, of course. I'm sure he'll have some input, but I do think that Trent Baalke does not want to give up all that power.
He definitely doesn't.
No, so that's a good thing, and I think that Chip has a good system in place that worked for 2 years before Chip Kelly, the GM, got Chip Kelly, the coach, fired, in my opinion. So and I think there is some interesting talent to work with. Carlos Hyde is a good running back.
Sure.
Torrey Smith can get over the top. Perhaps he does a little bit of what Jackson and Macklin did for that team. They just have to figure out the quarterback position, but I think it's a good start. I'm glad that Chip Kelly got a second.
It's funny if you compare it to USC football, as a for instance. They have forever, since Pete Carroll walked away, tried to hold on to that air as much as they can. They keep bringing in these assistants, and they still can't fully remove themselves from this. I think the Niners have made a hard right turn away from the Harbaugh era. They're not depending on rugged defense and grinding you on the ground. This is a pretty sharp turn away from that, and I don't know how many of those pieces that remain are going to be excited about playing in that system, given that they're on the field 35, 40 minutes a game the way they are. But the bigger issue is Colin Kaepernick. What do you think here? I spit out on Twitter when the announcement was made, oh, great news for Colin Kaepernick, but maybe not, Hans.
I don't know. I mean, there seems to be something around Chip Kelly that, and I think it's because of the quarterbacks you saw him have at Oregon, that people expect that he needs that athletic guy, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think
Clearly not with Bradford and Foles.
Right. He wants someone that is a somewhat of a threat to run, but more important is that they're accurate and they can make reads and do all the things that they need to throw the ball. I don't think that helps Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick regressed through Harbaugh's last year and then obviously last season to the point that he was benched. He can't hit guys. He can't hit guys if they're moving. He can't hit guys if they're covered. He's very inaccurate, and I just don't think it is going to work particularly well for Chip Kelly's offense.
I agree. I'm on the fence about what Chip Kelly wants to do, and it's been debated now for 4 or 5 years exactly what his philosophy is out there. And of course, it's quick strike and all that sort of thing, and run the ball a great deal. Well, so with Carlos Hyde,
I think Carlos Hyde is going to be the best.
I agree.
We'll gain from this the most.
It almost feels like, remember how good, I mean, it feels forever ago, but remember how good he looked early before the injury bug started biting him this season. But I do think Chip Kelly ideally likes for his quarterback to be able to put pressure on the edge of the defense as a potential runner. Not to say that he wants his QB running 20 times a game, but he does like that threat. And a lot of what Chip Kelly has his pass catchers do is run skinny posts. A lot of the time you'll see 4 guys run skinny posts. That seems to lend itself to what Colin Kaepernick does well
to
do.
hit those routes, though, you need a lot of anticipation.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing that Kaepernick struggled with, in my opinion. When I charted Crabtree and Stevie Johnson for reception perception in 2014, those guys were consistently getting separation on timing routes, but then Kaepernick wasn't able to anticipate it, so he'd miss those guys and just throw it to Bolden on a curl, when he's completely covered, because that's just what he defaulted to.
Kaepernick does not like people moving.
No.
It feels like he needs someone to run around and then stand there.
I wonder if Gabbert isn't a better fit, because he showed some athleticism, that long touchdown run against the Bears, and a few times our next-gen stats showed him as one of the fastest quarterbacks in the NFL. So,
boy, we could do a whole show easily. We could spend the next 90 minutes talking about what all this means for Kaepernick, RG3, and Johnny Football. And with all those names out there that are sexier names, Blaine Gabbert might be the most coveted QB that's out there. If the not, it'll be interesting to see what Baalke and Chip decide upon here.